I know. I talked about Max Crosby yesterday on the channel with Foots. We had a whole podcast. You guys should go check that out after you watch this video. It'll be in the description of today's show. After recording that, some Cowboys reporters, I'm not going to name any names right now, maybe later on in the video, but they said that that was not happening. Dallas hasn't called anyone around the league about a trade at all. And with the Crosby thing, the Raiders didn't want to trade him, right? Blah, 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 blah. Then, this morning, we get news that Dallas is in the market. Potentially, they've called every single team in the NFL. They've talked to everybody that they possibly could. They're looking for an impact defensive player, looking for a trade partner. So, let's get into this breaking news from ESPN. The Cowboys are in the hunt for a defender. Now, before we get into Jeremy Fowler's ESPN report about the Cowboys potentially being in on trades and like what could possibly happen with them, I wanted to say that this gets really weird and murky because the Cowboys and Brian Schottenheimer, I think, they've done a good job of keeping everything close to the vest. They haven't been telling anybody what they're doing. We didn't know about the Pickens trade beforehand. We didn't know about the Micah deal until a couple of hours before. The Pickens one, we had like 1 hour notice. Next thing you know, he's a Cowboy. Dallas has not leaked anything. The reporters for the Cowboys have missed more this year than in the past 15 years combined. Dallas is just not showing their hand. So we really don't know where they're at in negotiations or players that they're really interested in. I think that's why we're seeing all these conflicting reports with Jane Slater and Calvin Watkins and Clarence Hill Jr. compared to maybe ESPN guys that talk to other teams that say, hey, the Cowboys called us about this player, or we heard that the Cowboys called the Raiders about Max Crosby, and then Cowboys front office is like, no, I mean, we haven't called anybody. Nobody really knows what's going on, if we're being honest. So after yesterday, getting excited about the Crosby news, Trey Wingo said that Dallas had talked to the Raiders. Very shortly after, a couple hours later, Cowboys reporters are like, no, that never happened. So this morning, we wake up from a report from Jeremy Fowler, and this is what he had to say about Dallas looking for a defender. He said, quote, "My understanding of the situation is the Cowboys are on the hunt for an impact defensive player and have reached out to teams throughout the league, likely all of them, to gauge interest with a number of players, Crosby presumably being one." So yes, I think there's interest. My sense is that Dallas would be pretty surprised if the Raiders actually moved on from Crosby, with whom owner Mark Davis has a deep affection. The Cowboys, armed with 2 first-rounders in 2026 and 7 picks in total before compensatory selections, also have looked into Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson, whom the Bengals don't plan to deal. Several other edge rushers will be available league-wide, so expect the Cowboys to get involved in various talks. Then he goes on to talk about George Pickens and how Dallas moved on from that pick, and Pickens has been everything that you could possibly imagine. The idea that Dallas got him for a third-round pick gets worse and worse for Pittsburgh by the day. We have all these conflicting reports, right? Everyone's saying something different. You have national media saying that Dallas is interested. You got local media saying they're not interested in making trades or they haven't called anyone. I saw that tweet yesterday. I was really shocked. Then Brian Broaddus said today on his show with Crown Global Media that the Max Crosby thing is not over yet. Don't completely give up on that trade happening. And I always say this, especially when it comes to trades. We thought for the longest time that they would never move on from Micah. They wouldn't do it. And then I saw all of the smoke. All of these people, without explicitly saying it, saying that the relationship was fractured between Jerry and Micah and how they were going to figure this out. Next thing you know, I make a video. He's traded like 4 hours later. It feels a lot like that, just in the reverse way. There's a lot of smoke, a lot of different smoke screens going up, people saying, we're not going to trade this guy, but Dallas has called us. Oh, well, Dallas hasn't called anybody. There's so much smoke. There has to be a fire somewhere. They want to fix the defense, not completely fix it, but get more talent on there and getting a pass rusher. And I'm sure Jerry's thinking about it. Oh, what if I could flip Micah Parsons into 1 first-rounder, Max Crosby, and Kenny Clark? Like, I would look like a genius. He's definitely thinking something along those lines, or at least the Cowboys front office is, because it would be genius. I can't lie. If they can somehow pull that off, I will completely take back everything I've ever said bad about this organization, and I will follow their lead into the 2025 season, because the defense has got to get better if Dallas wants to be a Super Bowl contender. Offense, check, Super Bowl contender. Defense, very, very bottom of the league in most metrics. It did have a good game against Washington, but they got to show us a little bit more than just one game. They need someone that can get after the passer. They've been looking at pass rushers. Those are the names that constantly keep popping up. Who are they really looking at? Because they have 4 first rounders and they have a defense that needs help. Believe it or not, Jerry and Steven in the front office, they do watch these games, although sometimes it doesn't seem like they are. They watch these games and they know how good the offense is. I can't remember a Cowboys offense that was this good. They know the defense needs help. They are calling everyone. Why wouldn't you be calling everyone? It just makes too much sense to try and help the defense by either getting a star player or a handful of mid-tier players that are better than what you have now, and kind of raising the floor of the defense rather than the ceiling, which is totally fine with me. As long as you don't overpay and you help this defense and you get better at certain spots that you really need it, including edge, maybe even defensive tackle, maybe linebacker. I really hope they get this done soon so we can stop all the worrying up to the deadline, and the deadline gets close and we're like, is Dallas going to make a move? Are they going to make... Just go ahead and do it. Whether it's a half-year rental or it's a guy under contract for the next 2 or 3 years, go ahead and get it done. I know it's not all up to Dallas, but it'd be nice to get it done. Now let's move into the news. The Cowboys defense getting some guys back, not just in a trade, getting their own guys back with DeMarvion Overshown and Savone Revel. Overshown, Revel, and Cooper Beebe, but he plays offense. They all were activated. Their 21-day practice windows were opened up, which means Dallas has until November 12th to figure out what they want to do with those guys. If Dallas never activates them to the active roster, they will go on season-ending IR and will not play in 2025. I don't believe that's going to happen with any of those players. Really quick, guys, before we continue, I want to tell you about the sponsor of the channel for this season and this video, Sleeper. The best daily fantasy sports app on the market. Sleeper has one of the best interfaces that I've seen. So many sports, so many different things. They have fantasy football, they have picks, and I wanted to give you guys my picks for next Sunday night between the Packers and the Steelers. The best time to get in on these picks is early on. That way you can get in before everybody else does, right? And I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers over 215.5 passing yards, more than for Aaron Rodgers, more than half a touchdown, anytime touchdown for Josh Jacobs. And I'm going to say the Packers are going to pick on Jalen Ramsey once again because they just saw what happened to him this past game, and Jordan Love more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. That is my picks here on Sleeper. Thank you to Sleeper for sponsoring the channel, this video, and for the rest of the season. Thank you guys. The best daily fantasy sports app. DoubleMove. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Now, let's get back into it. Revel and Overshown is exactly why I don't think Dallas is going to make a move at linebacker or corner. They're going to want to bet on guys that they have in-house. They selected Revel, who they probably thought was an early or a late first-round pick, early second-round pick. And then you have DeMarvion Overshown, who was absolutely electric in the number of games that he played in 2024, and much better than anything you have at linebacker right now. Like, he'll definitely raise the ceiling. Getting him back is really big for this defense. Revel maybe being able to work in. Your corners have been having some communication issues, some personnel issues. We don't know what's going on with Trayvon Diggs, so just having another guy that is good in zone coverage, is big, long, lanky, can cover a bunch of ground, get in there, clog up passing lanes, and do all of that stuff. I'm excited about Revel. It seems like for the defense, when you combine the trade talks and you combine with guys getting back healthy in Overshown and Revel, that unit is getting help. Some much needed help. And it's going to take more than just one guy. Just trading for a defensive end, even if that is Max Crosby, does not completely change the defense, but maybe getting a corner that you really like back and he plays above expectations, or getting Overshown back and he plays even average to slightly above average, and you combine all of those things together, it could be the golden ticket to this team being a legitimate playoff contender, because I don't really think they are right now with where the defense is at. Like I said, they played good against the Commanders, but I'm not relying on that for the rest of the season. They've shown us more so what they are than what they were in that Commanders game. Super excited about Overshown, Revel. They'll likely be back after the Cowboys bye week, which is November 17th against the Las Vegas Raiders. I will be there in Las Vegas, so if you guys are going to be there too, let me know. That would be sweet. Maybe we can watch the new Cowboys pass rusher and then Overshown and Revel. It'll be pretty sweet. Maybe the defense will look good against that Raiders team. Thank you guys so much for watching. I just wanted to get on here, talk about some defensive news, how Dallas is trying to fix that, and guys that they're relying on to get back healthy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. We're on our way to 50,000 subscribers. Can we hit it before the end of the year? It would mean a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.